Heyo! Welcome to this week's debate on fantasy football. We're going to talk through the games and get you guys through it. Welcome, Welcome, Shane and Jamie. First mistake of the new season.
Yeah, that's a lie.
Obviously, there was gremlins in the systems and we tried to go live there, so we did make a mess of our first broadcast, but we're here now to talk through all the games and give you bad takes.
Bad takes.
That's just what we do, isn't it?
There was one guy here last year who we helped.
Oh yeah, what was his name?
I don't remember.
Oh, I miss him. Yeah.
That's not great that we remember that we made one guy's life a little bit easier.
I mean, we're so popular. We have like tens of people we make good.
Tens is probably ambitious.
Yeah, that's
I'm trying to make it sound good, you know.
Overly ambitious.
Well, will we just kick off then? There's no point hanging around, is there? We'll just get straight into the games, will we? We'll start with the Thursday night football. We possibly
yeah, we're running late already.
In fairness, we're always running late. Sound clips will be a bit strange today. We don't have our board.
Not sure what that was, but it's okay. Yeah. That's okay.
This might be a bit more football-like.
What?
I think Shane's gotten us, see?
No, I'm all good, dude.
Oh, you're there.
He just
You were moving at all.
Yeah, because I couldn't hear Dad. Dad just disappeared. The audio just left. I was like, oh, God, we're going to have to restart again.
It's kind of impressive, to be honest.
All right, let's talk through the Chiefs and the Ravens. The Chiefs and the Ravens is the first game tonight. Chiefs are 3-point favorites in Kansas City. There's no disruption with weather or anything, so who are you guys looking at?
It's straightforward enough, really, on the Ravens side of the ball. Anyway, isn't it? The same two characters we've been looking at for the last 2-3 years, if not longer, and they've added the king to the best running team in the league. So people are saying he's getting old, but I think Henry could be on for a career year.
Yeah, we have to leave you get first in that shit, to be fair. You know,
yeah, well, you can't.
You know how you feel about the king. You know how you feel about like.
In fairness, everyone's going to play Henry. I don't think there's the only really through the question marks of this game. Like the two quarterbacks are in because you drafted them high. Henry's in because he's drafted high. Pacheco's in because you drafted high. Receivers for the Chiefs maybe are the questions that you're looking at. There's no receivers for the other side of the ball.
Yeah. Like I think people had the Zay Flowers experiment last year. Jamie was one of them. It was painful most of the time. When it worked, it was absolutely exquisite. But it was mostly just the bed of nails. So, so as much as he's projected at what in standard or half PPR is 10.5 points is kind of what he's rated at this week. So it'll be interesting to see how Zay Flowers goes. He's actually the most interesting receiver, well, the only interesting receiver on the Ravens side. But
he should get the volume. Like there's nobody else there. Like, but you know yourself, as we have said ever since we started this, the Ravens were receivers. You don't trust the boys, like
no.
You know,
it's actually, but it's probably two of the best teams in the NFL with two of the worst wide receiver outputs in the NFL for fantasy football since Tyreek Hill left the Chiefs.
I have a quick question for you guys straight away. Who would you play in Zay Flowers or George Pickens when the Pittsburgh Steelers have a matchup against Atlanta?
They do think a lot of Pickens this year. And I think there's been a lot of talk about him in the preseason. I'd probably still stick with Flowers for now, but I do think Pickens is an interesting pick.
Yeah, I'd probably stay with Jamie on that one. I probably would lean Flowers as much as I think Pickens is on for a really good year. I just kind of want to see what week 1 looks like for the Steelers first. I know what I'm going to get out of Zay Flowers. It's not going to be fantastic, but the ceiling is much higher, I think, for Zay Flowers with Lamar than what the ceiling is for Pickens with shadow of a man that used to be Russell Wilson.
Do you have any interest in Xavier Worthy on the other side of the ball?
I do have him, and he is my flex for the week, but that's that's down to bad drafting more than anything.
Yes, people, come here for your advice. we do fault. Good things.
No, I think he'll do well. I do think he'll do well, and if they do suspend Rice, he's a boy you have to have picked up. It doesn't look like they will suspend Rice now. That we're kind of talking about the way it's next year, but if they do give him a couple of games ban or whatever, he's going to win your fantasy leagues, but so you have to be there ready to take it.
I don't know. I get it. He was drafted high by the Chiefs, but look back at the track record. They've basically brought in guys to either be when Tyreek Hill was there. They brought in Mecole Hardman. He was going to be the next Tyreek Hill. We'll have 2 of these guys. Then Hill left. Hardman was nowhere to be seen. He was useless. They sent him away. They've brought him back since. Then they drafted Sky Moore, another really quick guy. Said, he's the next Tyreek Hill. This is what we have. He hasn't showed up so far. Hasn't been good enough. And Xavier Worthy, to me, is another guy who they've brought in. The pressure and the expectation is this guy is really fast. He's really good. He's the next Tyreek Hill. And it's just pushing that narrative the whole time. And Tyreek Hill was special. He's generational talent. And I think that's what people expect out of Xavier Worthy with Mahomes as the quarterback. And I don't, he might be that. We haven't seen him play a game yet. So he might be that. But
I'm expecting to more of a Rashee Rice was last year. Mahomes trusted him massively. I think Mahomes has to go back to that kind of, banking on these receivers, and not being hit so fucking much, And Kelsey, I don't think Kelsey's going to have the output this year that people expect him to be. I genuinely think those 2 wide receivers are going to have a ton of output.
Hopefully you're right. It'll make fantasy very interesting with the Chiefs receivers actually been productive.
I picked up Rashee Rice there last year, and he nearly won me the league. That's what I'm kind of expecting from Worthy.
Quick question.
Yeah, Rashee.
For Carolina against the Saints, or are you going to go Christian Kirk? I assume it's Christian Kirk. There's only one Kirk in the league at the minute, isn't there?
Well, there's Kirk Cousins.
Forgot about him. All right. Let me find you who Jacksonville are playing this week. Miami.
Oh,
I just love Christian Kirk. I think Christian Kirk as the number 1 receiver for Trevor Lawrence this year. Look what he done 2 years ago, pre-Ridley. He was outstanding. He was by far one of the best wide receivers in the league. I think he finished a wide receiver 12 or wide receiver 10 that year. And that's the kind of year I'm expecting Kirk to come back to this year, been the number 1 guy in Jacksonville. So I would stick with Kirk. Jury's out on Hubbard. That Carolina team are too unpredictable until we see a game or 2 come from. That's why he was drafted so low in most leagues, if drafted as an RB1, on a team. It's very, very strange to see an RB1 fall as far as what Hubbard was in drafts this year.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Hubbard will have the volume, but how much volume will the Panthers really have? They look really poor.
Yeah, I'd probably lean Kirk as well. I just don't. Hubbard will be useful, but I want to see it for a week first. That brings us down to Green Bay at Philly. Friday night game.
Brazil.
Oh,
This should actually be a good game. We might actually get to watch some of this on Friday evening as well. Quarterbacks. You drafted Jordan late, but you're playing him anyway, aren't you? You drafted him.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Running backs are straightforward. You're going to put them both in. Week one is always quite straightforward. You just kind of put in anyone you drafted anyway. There's very few question marks. Maybe Reed might be a question mark, though. You got him later in the draft. He was an 8th round pick.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Go on, JB. No. You work away, dude. This is your team.
No, I was going to say, it's a good wide receiver core, but I think there's too many options for Love, and he loves passing to everyone. Like Reed, Dubes, Watson, Wicks, maybe from Melton. They could all get the ball. I don't think you can bank on them. But I was going to bank on anyone of bank on Watson. He's surely going to come back as a wide receiver 1 this year. I don't think Dubes has, what's he predicted? Nearly 10 points. Ugh, I think that's way too high, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think it's one of the better wide receiving cores there. I think Dubes is a great wide receiver. Reed, we'll see. And Watson, if Watson's healthy, he's surely the guy. Like, surely Watson becomes the wide receiver 1 on that team.
You would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, would you play Reed or would you play T. Higgins against New
England? T. Higgins, probably.
T. Higgins, yeah.
Okay, so that's quite low then for Reed. Would you play Reed or say Christian Kirk against Miami?
Yeah, no, I'd lean Kirk again straight away.
Probably would, yeah.
Reed or Adam Thielen against the Saints?
Oh, yeah,
Reed,
yeah.
Yeah, I go back to Reed there, yeah. Like, Thielen could be... Thielen might have that output again this year because he has that connection with Bryce Young, but like Bryce Young has 2 other guys that he can go to now in Xavier Legette and Deontay Johnson, and it went to them on the offseason. Yeah. So like, Xavier Legette is a big dude. Like he should be a dream for Bryce Young to play with.
At tight end in this game, neither of them are too appetizing. Dallas Goedert or Luke Musgrave. I think you'd probably be looking for better options there anyway.
Yeah, Goddard's an interesting one this year. Like, isn't he? He was like right at that edge of the tier drop off for the tight ends in the most drafts this year. Like the addition of Jahan Dotson for the Eagles is going to be interesting to see kind of what targets comes Goddard's way now. That and the fact that you're never sure that one hit isn't going to send him out for 6 weeks.
Pittsburgh at Atlanta. Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins.
Cousins what you want. This is what you want, please.
I think Atlanta has one of the most interesting offenses this year coming in. Like, with Kirk is one thing, reliable. Like, he's not going to win you loads of games. He needs talent around him. But like, if Drake London shows up, Mooney shows up, Bijan, we know, is a beast. He just wasn't used at all by Arthur Smith, hence why Arthur Smith is no longer the head coach of the Falcons. And if Kyle Pitts, his ceiling is huge, and everyone, including me, because I drafted him this year, is waiting on Kyle Pitts to have that breakout year. And I think Kirk Cousins made TJ Hawkinson a top 5 tight end in Minnesota. Surely he could bring Kyle Pitts to a top 10 tight end. Like,
yeah. Haven't we done this experiment for a couple of years now?
Yeah, but not with a good quarterback play. They haven't had good quarterback play since Matt Ryan, before Matt Ryan fell off. Like,
yeah, that's true.
It's an interesting one. I think if you've drafted Pitts, you drafted him in the 6th rounds, you have to play him anyway. But it's not a fun game.
I think I drafted him later. I don't know. Hang on. Oh, I got him in the 6th round, 607.
Oh, look at that. Bang on.
Pat Fryermuth, you might play him. Might be an okay shout here. Again, if you drafted Pat Fryermuth, you've got a position anyway, so you don't have a lot to go off, do you?
No.
But I think if Pitts is going to break out, Fryermuth is probably a better chance of like breaking out. I think he's a better tight end.
The other side, then we talked about Pickens a little bit. The confidence would be high enough, though. Like he is a flex play here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah, like no one else really. He should be getting a lot of ball. He should get a lot of volume, which is always good for fantasy.
Yeah, like Pickens should be the guy there. Like there should be no question about it. Like Russell Wilson should be just forcing him the ball.
Yeah.
You could have a situation where you might have drafted Jaylen Warren and George Pickens. Who would you prefer to play here, Warren or Pickens?
I don't know what the state of that backfield is, but I know Pickens is going to be targeted, so I would go with Pickens.
Yeah, I'd probably go Pickens, but Warren is an interesting pickup. I do.
Yeah.
He looked quite good at the back end of last year, and I don't think he'll be necessarily the RB2 in that. I think that could be a really stiff backfield.
Yeah, it's a hard one to tell that purely because we haven't seen Najee and Warren in this system yet either. We have Arthur Smith coming with his high T running game, so they could be useful. They could be terrible.
What? Arthur Smith running game.
Well, they did last year. We saw Kyle Pitts not catch a ball.
Yeah, but we also saw Bijan Robinson not run the ball.
Arthur Smith. Who was the other one?
But in that case, Cordell Patterson is my number one player in that backfield. That's the guy to get. Waiver wire week 1. There you go.
I'd love if that happened now. Cordell Patterson comes out with like 20 carries and like 300 fantasy points.
Don't rule it
out. Arizona at Buffalo. This is there's going to be a lot of people fired up in this game, I imagine. But you can kind of pick them out yourselves. Like there's no real question mark players in this game that you're on the fence with, is there?
Probably not really. No. The Buffalo wide receivers is your issue because it's the same kind of thing with the Packers. It's like, who the fuck's going to get the ball? You presume it's going to be Coleman, but then are they going to bank on him in first week with it being a rookie? Like Shakir there could be a good call for this week.
Yeah,
he could be a good flex option.
Yeah, week 1, I feel like I've drafted someone better than Shakir. Is the only issue.
Yeah, you probably have. Yeah.
Like Shakir's one of them guys. He's not rostered in a lot of leagues. He's probably going to be very high on the week 1 waiver wire because he's the only one there that's spent time with Josh Allen in the receiving core anymore. Like was Hollins there last year? I don't think Hollins was there last year, was he? Maybe he was so far down the depth chart we just didn't see him.
I don't think he was.
Yeah, like MVS wasn't there, Curtis Samuel wasn't there, Coleman wasn't there. So like Shakir should be his go-to kind of target in 3rd and long situations. Like that's probably who he's going to look for a lot. He could probably actually have a pretty big week, but I would not be playing him this week. As Dan said, surely you've drafted some.
If you want to be ballsy, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there you go. The first be ballsy of the year.
Be ballsy pick of the week.
Same thing can be said for the Arizona wide receivers, like what you call him? Is his name Marco Wilson? I can't even remember the guy's name. I support Arizona. Michael Wilson. You're not going to go messing with that on week 1, and then Greg Dortch is never really going to be a big thing. So you're only playing Harrison on that side of the ball. Trey McBride, James Conner, Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I think Arizona, the starts in Arizona are easier to come by than what you're going to put. Or like Kincaid for me, he's got high points like projected points, 9.59 for a team that don't really give the tight end the ball. Like it's just it's a weird one. Like whereas like McBride, if he shows up like he finished last year, he's going to be a superstar tight end this year for people.
You paid up for him, though, is the only issue. Anyway, we'll move on to Tennessee and Chicago.
Is that the soundboard or what was
that?
Yeah. Caleb Williams, would you think about playing him in his first start?
Look, I didn't draft him anywhere. I have no shares, so I obviously clearly wouldn't. I think there are better quarterbacks that you could have drafted and got there for fantasy wise. Like Jaden Daniels was going ahead of Caleb Williams in drafts just because of the running ability. Like, so it's, I don't know. It's just the Bears, like, isn't it? They're just, I think we're all afraid to touch anyone on the Bears after all the years of just no relevance in fantasy.
Well, it's the same point, isn't it? Like you surely have drafted someone better than Caleb Williams starting the first week.
Yeah, like even though look, he's the number one pick. Like he could go out there and scorch the Tennessee Titans, end up with 30 odd points, 40 points, and we're sitting here going, should have started Caleb Williams.
We're on the Chicago game. We have a question come in from George Play 01. DJ Moore or Zay Flowers non-PPR. So Zay Flowers tonight against the Kansas City Chiefs, or do you want DJ Moore against Tennessee? I would be leading DJ Moore.
That's a tough one, huh?
Yeah, because you got like Keenan Allen and Roma Dunze there as well. Like, and yeah, it's against a weaker team. I'd probably edge it just slightly, DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore is a much better player, but it's just you don't know what you're going to get out of Caleb in his first game.
For safety, I'd probably go Flowers. Like to that extent, you just don't know what you're going to get out of DJ Moore. Like, of course, we should know what we're going to get, but rookie quarterback, I just don't bank on him yet.
Follow-up question then. So would you put Flowers in the flex, Brian Robinson, or Javonte Williams? This is all non-PPR. So Denver are at Seattle. And then Washington, I'll find you their game now. They're against Tampa Bay.
I'm going with Javonte.
Situation.
Would you not just play DJ Moore and Zay Flowers then?
Oh, yeah. But he's for his wide receiver, and then he's asking about his flex position now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go Javonte. Brian Robson and Austin Eckler are both in the same backfield. You don't know what you're going to get out of that.
No, I go Brian Robson on, yeah.
Yeah, Flowers. It's like that Ravens game. Flowers could absolutely pop off if the Chiefs get to an early lead because the Ravens aren't going to run the ball all night then. But Javonte Williams is the best option that Denver have with a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix. They're probably going to hand it off a lot to Jaleel McLaughlin and Javonte Williams. So I will go Williams. I think he's going to have a high output game week one.
I go Flowers. Yeah, I go Flowers. We've tried this Javonte experiment a lot. I've tried this Javonte experiment personally. Yeah, I'm not going back there again. But like you're right, Jay. Like he should be. Like he's the only one back there. He should be getting a lot of ball. That volume should equate to points. I just don't think it will, to be honest.
Heads up shout in this game, Chicago, Tennessee. Who would you play, DeAndre Swift or Tony Pollard?
Ooh.
None.
I genuinely don't know. I wouldn't want to have to make that call.
Yeah.
I'd probably go for Pollard. Look, known quantity, did really well with the Cowboys. Down year, having more touches last year. I think he's not your 3 down back. Tajay Spears should help with that. Probably be a pretty split backfield, but Pollard, when he's not doing all the workload, seems to have massive burst plays. So just on that upside alone, he's so fast. Give it to Pollard.
Yeah, that's the only thing that worries me is how split they are. So I like Spears. I'm big on Spears. I think he's gonna be really good. You know, if you're talking pure volume, you go Smith or Swift. But like, to really fucking trust Swift, probably not. Like, so yeah, you'd probably go Pollard. Just stick him in. He's got the money. He's got paid. Like, they're surely going to use him. Like,
Yeah, it's hard to know. Like you say, with Spears and Pollard, you don't know the actual breakdown. I think I actually lean Swift purely because I just want a bit of excitement to see what Swift can do.
There's nothing exciting about Swift.
I just had to put something in for Tajay Spears there. Moving on to Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze. I think I would play would I play Calvin Ridley now is the actual question. I'll leave that question to you two.
No. You're not getting out of it that easy, no. You've let these two Muppets answer everything. Off you go.
And he's on your team. So, like,
yeah, you drafted him.
Why did you draft him?
Did also draft Harrison, DK Metcalf, and Devonta Smith, so I don't need to play him this week.
Fair.
I suppose if you were to play Calvin Ridley, would you play him over someone like Devontae Adams in week 1? Hardly.
No, you're not playing Devontae.
No.
Devontae's got terrible quarterback play, but he's still Devontae Adams.
Terry McLaurin or Calvin Ridley?
No.
Probably Calvin Ridley. Jaden Daniels is going to be a mobile quarterback. Less opportunities to catch the ball, less targets to McLaurin.
I think I go McLaurin. I still trust him better than Ridley.
The last question is: do you want to play Odunze or Allen, or do you want to leave it a week?
I think I would go with Allen and watch what Odunze does. That's how I play it. Allen's a great receiver as long as he's healthy.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. And then Cole Kmet is just, if you need a tight end, you can put him in there, but I would be looking for a better option than Cole Kmet.
He shall be on the carousel on week 1. Yeah.
New England at the Bengals. It's hard to see much life in the Patriots past Stevenson. I am interested in Polk as just sit him on the bench kind of guy. If you have a spare bench place, pick him up and see what the Patriots can do. But after that, there's nothing I want from the Patriots.
The reports from training camp and any of the preseason, the preseason games, he actually looked kind of good as well, didn't he, Polk?
He did, John.
So, like, I think he could be a very interesting option as the season goes on.
Yeah, but how good are New England going to be? You know, how often are they going to give him the ball?
They're going to come last in their division. They're not going to be good.
Exactly. So if they're not going to be good, he's not going to get the ball anyway.
Well, he might be like the only one who scores.
Are they even going to score?
Yeah, surely. Jacoby Brissett will throw a few tutties.
A few.
I don't know. The other side of the ball, then, there's not a whole lot of questions here. You might kind of think about Zach Moss as a flex play, but would you play Zach Moss or Tony Pollard that we mentioned in the previous game?
I'm not playing Zach Moss in any leagues. I don't think he starts.
Oh, you're a Chase boy.
Yeah, I think Chase Brown. Every single thing I've seen talking about the Bengals backfield is Chase Brown just needed to show he could pass block a little bit better, and then he'd be in. And they seem to say that he's done a pretty good job of that. I expect Chase Brown to just replace Joe Mixon and Zach Moss to get a couple of downs here and there.
It's hard to know.
I'm still high on Moss. I like Moss. I've always liked Moss. I'm gonna back him up.
What has made you like Moss in the last few years? What has he done at all?
Wasn't he class for like 6 games there? Was it last year?
He sucked.
No, he wasn't. Remember, he was unreal there for a while. And next thing Taylor come back and he couldn't get the ball anymore.
Yeah, because Taylor was gone for 4 games. But like as soon as they had a better option, they put him back in. Like,
this is his chance.
It's definitely not.
I'm on Team Moss.
No.
Team Moss. The Jamar Chase contract issues.
Yes.
I don't know how the Bengals have done this, and we now have to worry about Jamar Chase not playing this week.
Yeah, there's real chance he doesn't play for a few games, isn't there, if they don't pay him?
Which is
The stupid thing is he has
wild.
2 years left before he's due for a contract anyway.
Yeah, he came out and said that he wants 1 cent or 1 penny more than what Justin Jefferson got.
Yeah.
So like
it's
that's
a situation you really don't want for fantasy. You really don't want to worry about not having Jamar Chase, who you just drafted in the first round.
Yeah, they were my Super Bowl picks, so like I might have to change that if he don't play.
He'll come back eventually.
Yeah, it'd be too late then.
My tight end is now available are Otton, Parkinson, Juwan Howard, Hunter Henry. Do any of these guys have more upside than Knox? 12-team full PPR. Very optimistic on Knox. Allen Connection, though. Great show. Cheers, Blue Crew. I'm happy enough with Knox out of that list. I don't know about you two. I just think at least Knox, he can catch a touchdown.
Yeah, I think it'll be a Knox. I do like Otton. I do think Otton will be okay this year. But yeah, I think if you're going with anyone, might be sticking Knox there.
I think Henry then. I think Jacoby Brissett is always he's a check down merchant, like. That's why he's safe with the ball, Jacoby Brissett, usually. That's why he's gets a couple of starts every year and then gets replaced, and he's a quality backup. But like he's safe guy. I think Henry's going to get a lot of work in the Patriots off of Brissett.
Remember Hunter Henry's start to last season when he was like the tight end one after 2 weeks?
I don't. Yeah, I got poached by someone in our draft last year for Henry.
Henry is really weird. I'm just looking at the stat line from last year. So he got 16.6, 17.2, 3.7, down to 9. And then he doesn't score basically anything again until week 9 when he gets 13.9. Disappears again, comes back in week 14 with 19, and then week 15 with 19.6.
Yeah, see, all these down weeks, they were the weeks he was on my team. All the up weeks, not on my team.
Yeah, he's interesting to have on your bench, but trying to figure him out is probably impossible. I assume this is a dynasty when you're talking about these sort of tight ends anyway.
Yeah, no, I do think Henry, man, he's the most known option in the Patriots team, like.
Yeah, but it's Patriots.
Yeah, but it's like,
Yeah,
dude,
like-
Brissett's not. He's not the worst quarterback. I don't think Brissett's the worst starting quarterback in this league at the minute.
You're talking the Patriots up a lot, like in the last.
No, I'm not. Like, I don't think the Patriots are going to do anything special. I think they're definitely going to be last in their division. But I think Henry will get work off Brissett. And Henry's not that bad of a tight end.
It is a really interesting debate. Knox against Hunter Henry, I think. Like,
I just think
feel Hunter Henry has more upside because Knox is a little bit capped by Dalton Kincaid.
Yes.
But yeah, Hunter Henry is just so unreliable.
That is actually true. I actually forgot about Kincaid.
Yeah, so does Josh Allen all the time.
I would put my hands up. So I would actually go Otton there if I was going to go anywhere. I'm still not going Henry.
Is Otton still a Buccaneer?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Baker Mayfield. Jacoby Brissett better than Baker Mayfield.
No, he's not.
Would you do this trade? PPR, this is a question from Antonio Lopez. PPR, Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, Puka for Jamar, Mostert, Chubb, and Chuba. So Team A gets Jacob, Kenneth Walker, and Puka. And the other side gets Jamar Chase with the contract issue, Mostert, Nick Chubb injured, and Chuba Hubbard, Panther. I want Jacob, Kenneth Walker, and Puka.
Yeah. No, but the situation as it is, like.
Yeah, no, like Puka and Walker, I think are both going to be down. Well, I think you've probably drafted Walker at his ceiling. Puka, I think he's gone above his ceiling. I expect Kupp to be more active, especially with Puka's knee injury. But I wouldn't give them guys up. Oh, he gets Kenneth Walker. Yeah,
Oh,
well then do it
alright.
all day.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
yeah, definitely take that trade. That's someone been crazy.
It feels like a lot to give up Jamar Chase. I suppose it depends on your depth as well. If you're stacked, it's probably a good deal to keep Jamar Chase, but at the same time, I feel if I had Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, and Puka, I have a decent team.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, Chew Hubbard is ass, and Nick Chubb might never be the same.
Fair point, well made. That brings us to Houston at Indianapolis. CJ Stroud, Richardson, like you've drafted them both highly. They're both 5th round picks. You're gonna have to play them if you drafted them. Joe Mixon and Jonathan Taylor. You're gonna have to play both of those. You drafted them both highly. I suppose the real question is the receivers for Houston. Are you confident playing all 3?
Yes, because I have to be.
I wouldn't be sure about Dell. I think Diggs and Collins, I think they'll take bits of each other. I think they'll be more of a hindrance towards fantasy than what they could be. Like I can't see them getting fucking 15 points each every week, even though if they're on their own, they probably would. But I think you still play them every single week to do them.
I'd have the worry with Diggs more than Dell. I'd be all right with Dell. Diggs, I don't know. I've never really liked Diggs too much anyway.
Yeah, he was just unreal for the last 3 or 4 years of fantasy. Don't like that. Don't like good players on my team.
It's a personal vendetta.
Yeah, like what's that about? I tried to trade for him like 2 years ago? Like a good few times, and I could not get him off whoever had him.
All right, let's move on then from Diggs and the boys. That brings us to the other side of the ball. Then we have the Indianapolis receivers, which is, looking at the list, is just Pittman. You don't want anything else here for the minute. Like, you're not going to play Adonai Mitchell this week.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of hype around Adonai Mitchell. Like, Richardson's got to stay healthy and got to throw the ball. They're 2 things that might not happen.
Fair point. Yeah, but
Yeah, like,
you put all your eggs on Pittman. Like he's your guy here. He could do very well this year. I think he'd be a really good pickup.
I don't know. I drafted, was it two running backs, quarterback, and then went running back again because the wide receivers that were left on the board for me at the time, I think, were Pittman and I don't even remember who else was beside him. And I was like, I don't want any shares in them. I just, I've given up on it now. Pittman's been around a while and he's just never been what we all wanted him to be. And I think he was too high of a price as a 4th round pick this year.
He was quite good last year. Pittman was. He had he got more good games than bad games.
That's fair.
Like he's a very, very decent wide receiver, and Richardson's going to have to throw to someone, and he doesn't have. He doesn't have. He doesn't have anyone to throw to. He doesn't have any wide receiver.
Yeah, he just needs it. He'll just run it, then Taylor run it, then he'll run it, then Taylor run it. Be grand.
I think it's a great call this week. I think he'd be a good call.
Okay.
I'm making a shout.
Executive decision.
Exactly.
Dalton play him and wrap him.
Yeah, like Dalton Schultz, good tight end, one of the better ones. It's just the only worry you have with Schultz again is the 3 wide receivers. Like Stephon Diggs didn't come there to that team to not get targets. Like that was a must when he was been traded. I'd say was I have to have at least this amount of targets every game.
Diggs is already complaining about the targets he's not getting.
Yeah, like it's that's like he's going in there. He is taking up a good portion of the target share. Tank Dell is back.
Training targets, like he's not getting any in practice. He's pissed off. Like,
yeah, he likes getting the ball, like all wide receivers. But like, I don't know, it's an interesting one. Like that whole receiving core, it could just end up in like the Chiefs. We could just hate it. Too much sharing.
Too much sharing. That brings us nicely onto a bit more of an exciting game that is Jacksonville at Miami. Actually, the Colts and the Texans isn't that disappointing. That will be an exciting enough game, but I needed a segue to get into Jacksonville at Miami.
Yeah.
Fire up everyone on the Miami side as usual. They're all going to score 1 billion points.
Yeah, bar the tight ends.
They even have any tight ends anymore?
Yeah, they just don't need to throw to the tight ends. They've two running backs who can catch the ball. 3 actually, because Jalen Wright will come in and he'll catch it as well. And then they just have 2 wide receivers and sprinkle a bit of Berrios and Washington in there, and you're fine.
Did you ever find out what that Waddle injury was? The undisclosed injury that has him sidelined the last 2 weeks.
No, I didn't hear anything about it.
I didn't actually hear he was injured, to be honest.
Nice.
Okay. The other side of the ball, Christian Kirk, we've talked about him. Brian Thomas. Do you have any interest in playing him this week? Or are you going to leave that for a few weeks?
Yeah, that's a slow burner as well, isn't it?
Yeah, like I think that's going to be any of, like, if it's not Marvin Harrison or Malik Neighbors, I kind of want to wait a week personally.
Yeah, even Neighbors. Daniel Jones is terrible.
I might actually throw Worthy into that mix as well. Like that, I might play Worthy just for the excitement of Thursday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Evan Ingram, like you've drafted him high enough, he's going into your lineup. There's no mess in there.
Yeah, I think Ingram and Kirk, man, are in for massive years. I think this is the year that the Prince Trevor Lawrence makes playoffs. Them 2 boys doing all the grunt work for him with Etienne, and I think we're good to see a playoff game from Jacksonville.
Are we excited about Lawrence? Like, have we decided whether he's a good quarterback or not? I think the jury's still out, isn't it?
I think that this is kind of this should be his year. I think he'll be better this year.
Yeah, you saw glimpses of it last year, but I don't think he'll ever be as good as people thought he would be. But I think he'll be okay. I think this is his year. He has to play well this year.
Yeah, like they have given him Gabe Davis, like to stretch the field. I think that's the only reason they brought in Davis. It was just like, you're an over the top guy. We'll give him a downfield option to stretch the field. Kirk Thomas on the shorter medium routes to play around. Kirk then can go outside the numbers, play in the slot. So you can mix it up a little bit with him. Like I think he should have a good year this year. Gabe Davis could actually be a very good addition to there. Not saying Gabe Davis is going to have an excellent year, but he should make them a better team.
You would hope so. But that was a weird sound drop. I did not realize what was going to be. Anyway, moving swiftly on from that mistake. Carolina at the Saints. It's hard to find.
Oh, dear God.
I think we should just throw Taysom Hill in here and just forget Derek Carr ever played quarterback and just see what happens. Just absolute chaos.
He's actually listed down here as a quarterback on Sleeper.
Yeah, just look, go out of the wildcat formation, Taysom Hill a quarterback every now and then, tight end some of the snaps, and just let Kamara catch it, run it, see what happens. Go wild. Just not Derek Carr. He's just a drain on the whole thing.
But they always do fine when they play him too. Like, why not just go for it? Jesus.
Stop testing stuff. Do that later. I am not flying, Jack.
Derek Carr. Go on, Jamie.
I can't remember what I was saying now.
No, because you think you're the king of the world.
Yeah, like I just think they should play Tyson Hill. I just fucking go for it. Why not? Like he's better than Carr, like,
Yeah.
or at least the exact same, but at least he can fucking run.
Like it's
Oh,
just
like on the Saints side, it ruins Olave for you as well. Like you've drafted Olave so highly that you have to play him here. Like, but are you excited about Olave?
no. I think he was another one, man. He went way too high in drafts because of the quarterback play. Like
Mhm.
there was better options you could get later, like than Olave.
Yeah, but I think
Like
he should be okay. He should get enough ball to be relevant. I
we
don't think.
thought that last year, and like
Yeah,
people complained that Michael Thomas took ball away from him, like, but they just weren't that good. That was the simple facts about it. Like New Orleans weren't that good. Even Alvin Kamara, like he as good as what Kamara was, he wasn't anywhere near what we've seen in the past.
yeah.
In PPR, Alvin Kamara should catch 1 million passes for -2 yards, which is helpful.
Yeah, yeah. Just about get you to that 5 or 6 point mark.
Chuba Hubbard, then he's in the Jerome Ford kind of category where you've drafted them late. You could put them into this. You could put them in. I'd hope I have better options, but if you're stuck, like I don't know, like like would you play Chuba Hubbard or Jackson Smith and Jigba against Denver in your flex position?
Why would I
Jesus.
play Jackson Smith and Jigba? It's like two terrible options. If I drafted that team, I just quit playing fantasy football. It's like, what are we doing at that point?
Not the way I give you a question, you just shit all over it.
Well, that one was fair.
Yeah, come on.
Jackson
Smith and Jigba. Would I play the third choice wide receiver for the Seahawks or the first choice running back of the Panthers?
I think it just shows how low Dan is on Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, it more or less tells you don't play him.
If I was to give you I don't think like Chuba Hubbard or David Montgomery against the Rams isn't really a fair question. Like I pick Montgomery every day of the week. Like
Yeah, it's too. That's like I think out of all the running backs in the league, even the shared positions like Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, I think you're playing all of those guys over Chuba Hubbard. I think he's behind one of the worst offensive lines. Probably he's not. He wasn't very good last year. I don't expect him to be very good this year.
I have a question, Stash. We're gonna go to the live question first. Nino Pena. I need to start 2 wide receivers and a flex from this list. So we have Rice, Godwin, Neighbors, Pickens, Ford, and Gus Edwards, I assume. So I'm going to give you these matchups. So Rice obviously has the Ravens tonight. Godwin is playing Washington. Neighbors, have we talked about the Giants yet? They're playing Minnesota. Pickens, we looked at that matchup earlier. That was Pittsburgh against Atlanta. Jerome Ford, we have him down here against Dallas. And then Gus Edwards is with the Chargers now. So we haven't spoken about the Chargers yet. They're playing Vegas. It's a lot to do there. Personally, I think I'd probably be going Rice, Neighbors, Pickens. I'm between Rice, Neighbors, and Pickens and Ford is a toss up to me, I think.
Yeah, I'd probably go Rice, Godwin, and Ford, I think. I'm not sure if I want to start Neighbors yet.
I think Rice is unanimous, so between us all.
Yeah, so we can remove him from the list. So we're looking for 2, basically.
Yeah, 1 wide receiver and Ford. I would go Ford as the flex. I think Cleveland have a good O-line. Ford showed last year when Chubb went down that he's capable. So I don't see a problem with starting Ford. You were putting Ford with Hubbard there a minute ago. I would much rather have Ford over Hubbard. Neighbors and Pickens is the toss-up for me. I don't like either of their quarterbacks. Russell Wilson is more of a known bad quality. He's just he's better than Danny Dimes. So I go Pickens just for that, just for the better quarterback play, slightly better quarterback play.
So we're debating. So Rice is in. So the debate really is between, like, I'm happy enough with Ford in the flex as well, like you said. So then the debate really is between these three receivers for his Godwin, Neighbors, and Pickens. I'd personally just go Neighbors for the excitement of week one with a rookie who is the only person who can catch the ball there. Shane, you were leading Pickens, and then Jamie, who would you have?
I was saying Godwin.
So we're no help.
Yeah, all right, look, I'll change it up. I'll go with you, Dan. Neighbors would have been my second choice to Godwin, so I'll take or to Pickens. So I'll go with Neighbors. Just the fact that I have shares in him as well.
I don't think you can like Godwin and what's his name, Evans. Like, they're always class. They always do really well at fantasy. You know, it doesn't matter how shit the Bucks are; they're always really good. You know, I think he's a safe bet this week. You know, we never liked Pickens. Pickens was a crap last year. We don't know what Neighbors is actually going to be. And as you say, Daniel Jones is throwing the ball to him. he could break out all the time and never get the ball anyway because the ball could be over there.
Yeah,
don't worry about him. He's already decided to go with Neighbors, so he's ignoring your call.
I wouldn't mind just thinking about what Jamie
no.
said as well. The Bucks were actually one of the, like, they could not run the ball at all last year either.
No,
White was terrible, so they actually have to throw the ball a lot. So Godwin might not be a bad shout.
Do you know what, Nino? Come back next week and I'll laugh in your face. How that?
Hey,
he's going to get all those touchdowns. He's going to get all the touchdowns, Neighbors, and he's going to have fun with it.
He's not going to catch anything because it's either going to be overthrown, underthrown, or Daniel Jones will just fall over.
This is my point. Yeah.
In the first quarter, so we'll get what's the quarterback? Tyrod Taylor.
What?
Tyrod Taylor. He's the backup for the Giants, isn't he?
Oh yeah, but like, they paid Daniel Jones, man. It doesn't matter if he like has 1 foot. Like, they're playing him. They're like, we're getting our money's worth out of you, bud.
ACL, you're in the game, man.
Yeah, end of story. Oh, one arm, throw with your other one.
Minnesota at the Giants. We were just talking about the Giants, so this brings us on nicely. No quarterbacks to be played here, so I'll move on quickly from that. There's probably questions at running back. Aaron Jones, Devin Singletary. Neither are particularly exciting, but Aaron Jones, you might be tied into him.
Yeah, I would play Aaron Jones.
Don't want to.
Like, Jamie, you had Aaron Jones last like 3 seasons in our fantasy league. Like, he's rarely let you down.
Yeah, but you know, yeah. To be fair, the only reason I didn't draft him this year is because he's a traitorous bastard and he can go die. You know, but look, Aaron Jones is very good. He's good running the back, and realistically, they're probably going to have to run the ball a lot with Darnold as quarterback. So yeah, I don't think he's comparable to Singletary. Really, he's a lot better than Singletary. I think you put them in like, but you obviously put them in because you obviously drafted them high enough.
Yeah. Like, Singletary is an interesting one. Like, I actually, he didn't do well in Buffalo, and it's hard to see him doing well in a worse team. So I think Singletary's his projection for 10.5 points this week is ridiculous. I hope Singletary does well for the Giants. I even as a Cowboys fan, I would just like to see Singletary have some bit of success now at this point. But I just don't see it. I think he was just a waste.
Yeah, he did have a couple of good games off the back of last season, you know. But yeah, I don't think you ever feel good playing Singletary.
Yeah, like he's always going to be a worry when he's in your team, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to know. The wide receivers, then we talked about Neighbors, so we kind of went into Neighbors in depth in that last question, so we don't really need to talk about them too much. Justin Jefferson, Addison. I'd play Jefferson. I think Addison would be sitting on my bench for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Is there anyone else we want to discuss here, or are we happy to move on?
No, happy enough with that, yeah. Like Jalen Hyatt, I think could be one to watch maybe week one if Daniel Jones can by some miracle throw the ball around. Hyatt might be one that pops up people's lists for waiver wire week one.
Absolutely not.
Chargers. This is a mess. I don't know what you're going to do with any of these players, to be honest. Can I interest you in J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards?
Yeah.
Well, comeback player of the year. J.K. Dobbins, that is.
Like Josh Palmer, I've seen a lot of different fancy football people and things on the likes of TikTok and Twitter all putting out Palmer as the guy. Like he's not drafted in a lot of leagues, that Palmer's going to be a big pickup week one. So I'm interested to see the use of Josh Palmer week one. I don't think I'd be starting him. I think, and if you're in very deep leagues, maybe you're flexing him. But he's an interesting one.
I think we've done this with Palmer before, like when Allen was injured and Williams was injured, and everybody and their sister was bringing in fucking Palmer for the week because he was going to blow up because he was the only wide receiver they had, and he was still poor. He's not at that level. Like I don't think you start him. I think McConkey here is the guy, but you don't start him either. But you stash, you watch. I think this is probably the first team that you actually don't start anyone.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like Herbert, if you've drafted him, you're definitely playing him. Like
Herbert, yeah.
Gus Edwards, like Dan, you've Gus Edwards. You're not starting him in our league, are you? You're not flexing him.
No, he's kind of just there as an insurance back if something happens to any of my other backs. But like he could be, I don't know. I think I drafted in the 11th round. He's an easy enough cut next week if I want to pick someone up off waivers. I'm not too invested in Gus Edwards.
Yeah, and like White on the other side of the ball, then Zamir White. Like I've seen, he's probably been the most conflicting player I've seen this offseason for a lot of people. Outside of, say, the Texans wide receiver debate, Zamir White is like, I've seen some people say he's going to skyrocket this year. He's to the moon, best value in the drafts. And then I've seen other people say, stay away from Zamir White. He's an RB1 that's going to get zero value. It's like, I don't know where to go with Zamir White. Like, I think he's a real sitting weight. Like he could be class, but I don't really think he will. It's a bad team. But
yeah,
he could be a very interesting one. Like
when he did get the ball in the last year, though, he was very good, like really good for fantasy. But yeah, it's probably a poorer team. I think, I don't necessarily know if you play him, but like stash him and watch. But I think he could be a big guy this year.
I think, yeah. Go on, then.
Man, PPR, Neighbors, Ford, or Zamir while we're on this game.
I think Ford is the safest call there. Good O-line. They're a heavy run team. They're going to give him the ball a lot. He's PPR. Maybe you lean towards Neighbors just because Daniel Jones might have no choice but to throw him the ball 70 times in the game.
I feel like I
throw the ball 70 times.
They're not going to run it more than once after Singletary gets stopped for -3.
Just based off our conversations, I think I'm the highest on Neighbors out of us, but I think that's an easy Neighbors for me.
I like Ford this year, man. I think Ford is going to be good.
Yeah, I do like Ford too, but yeah, I think Neighbors is just a whole team situation, to be honest. I think that I believe the hype. I believe he's as good as he is, but I just don't trust fucking Denny Dines be getting him the ball. I just
Like I was praying because I knew I had the 2 in the Dynasty League this year, and I was praying that he was not going to New York. I was like, just fall, please fall.
Not much you can really do with that one.
Nope. Brock Bowers, though, what are we like on the Brock Bowers situation?
Ooh, I don't know. I
Bowers.
play Brock Bowers. I don't think personally, not today anyway.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I really like Brock Bowers coming out of college. I think he's like he could be another Kyle Pitts, couldn't he? Like he's kind of rated that high coming out of college.
Yeah, they're very high in him. But wasn't he injured a couple weeks ago?
I think he's good
He
to
only
go.
coming back or something. Yeah, so he's
No,
questionable.
Playing rookie tight ends.
Yeah, but it was so. I just found it strange that they drafted him after getting Michael Mayer last year. Like Michael Mayer, I thought did decent for him last year as the 2 tight ender, and I thought he was going to get the 1 spot this year. But then they drafted Bowers. Like they must not like what they seen in Mayer.
Yeah, I think it was best player available. They didn't expect him to be there. I think I read something like that they were just generally shocked he was there, and that's why they took him.
So we could see a lot of 2 tight end this year from the Raiders.
Gardner Minshew's this quarterback, so they're not going to be throwing it that much anyway.
Well, they better hope Zamir White does go to the moon, so because that's going to be a long season.
I have a feeling Devontae Adams is going to be very angry come week 3.
Oh yeah, I foresee a trade forced through there before week 8. I think he's out of there.
Denver visiting Seattle. Bo Nix versus Geno Smith. It's not the quarterback battle that you would really be thinking much is going to happen in this game. I don't think I'd play either of those.
No, absolutely not. No.
Like to be honest, I think in this game, my only question marks would be Javonte Williams, whether you're going to play him or you're going to play someone like Zach Moss.
I paid Javonte over Zach Moss. I really think Chase Brown is going to lead that backfield.
Yeah, probably go for Williams just because you don't know what the splits are going to be like there between Brown and what was his name?
Moss.
Moss.
The guy that you were defending 10 minutes ago.
That's what you blanked. I was like, oh, is it?
I'm on the Moss trade. What trade am I on?
Yeah, no, you stick with Williams because he's the only guy that can get the ball there, I think. Until you know what's going on between Brown and Moss.
And then to bring up the Jackson Smith and Jigba hate that you guys have again, would you be playing Jackson and Jigba, or would you be playing Lad McConkey against Vegas?
Yeah, I'd probably go McConkey. Yeah, there's just so much Geno has on the Seahawks. Like it's like surely McConkey gets more of an involvement.
Big Money's back with how about Javonte or Ford in PPR? That's a better question than Moss. I should give Big Money the job because he's doing better questions than me.
Javonte probably catches more passes, I would say. Surely, does he?
Yeah, but he's middle class as well. Like,
yeah, that's true.
I'd probably stick with Ford. I do like Ford this year.
I don't think you could go too far wrong there. You can take the risk on Javonte, but Ford is he might. Does Ford catch anything? I can't remember seeing him catch too much last year. Not that Deshaun Watson can't throw the ball half the time is good anymore. So
that's what I was
so like, look, that Cleveland O-line is sick, and they're a run heavy team. Like they kind of have to be, but Ford is a safer option to me, I think.
That brings us to Dallas at Cleveland, which is quite handy. We talked about Jerome Ford there. Dak is straight into your lineup. You've drafted him because you drafted him in this 7th round anyway. But
Yeah.
the Zeke Dowdle Cook mess, like I don't have any worries about Dalvin Cook, but I don't really know what I'm going to do with Dowdle or Zeke at the minute.
Dowdle is the RB1.
Then Zeke comes in and takes all your touchdowns.
Zeke don't move, man. He just falls slightly forward.
For 1 yard in the end zone.
Yeah, Zeke is gone. Like, even if can he even go 1 yard? Like the Cowboys, big revamp on the O line this year. Like, so I'll have to see how that works out. Like Cooper Beebe looks like he's going to be rookie at center, and he's moving from guard to center. Looks good from all the training camp stuff I've seen. And Tyler Guyton, left tackle, like they said he was a project, but it looks like he's going to be straight into the starting lineup. So the offensive line will be a big question this year for the Cowboys. See, can they even push Zeke 1 yard into the end zone?
The wide receiver position, you don't really have much of a question on. Like CD's in. The other side, Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper. I'm not playing Jerry Jeudy anyway. Like Amari Cooper is at home, so
yes, we have learned.
Put the man in.
20 points.
Big money is going to go with Ford by the looks of it. He's worried about Javonte playing in Seattle, which is a fair point too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Now this week, Washington at Tampa Bay. There's a few fantasy assets here. The backfield in Washington's a little bit difficult with Eckler and Robinson. I personally think Robinson will be the RB1 here, but I'm not thrilled about it either.
He was all right option last year. Like he was a mid-range kind of flex guy last year for most of the season. Like Eckler should be the better back there. Like, but it's just Washington's offensive line is absolutely terrible. Like from Everton I've seen, it looks like they drafted Jaden Daniels because they said, right, we have nobody on offense. We need a guy who can literally run away from the defense. That's why they got him, like. So, like, expect a lot of passes on the run from Jaden Daniels or a lot of scrambles. Like, it's not going to be pretty to watch this year.
Yeah, I don't think you really want to be messing with anyone in Washington. Joe, like you said, McLaurin, I think you can trust McLaurin. I think you get enough volume to be relevant, but I don't think you feel ever comfortable playing McLaurin as much as he used to. But yeah, like that whole Eckler Robinson thing is a bit of a mess. You expect Eckler to be a little bit better, but I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, like
obviously you had to choose between Godwin and McLaurin. Who are you playing this week?
Godwin. I go with Godwin there. Yeah,
I think I'd lean McLaurin in that situation. That's purely because he's the only target. But like we could figure out very quickly that this Washington team is nothing. We have to. I think you have to see it a few weeks, don't you?
Yeah, like I think this Washington team will be carried a long way by Jaden Daniels.
Big money. That's hilarious. Run, Daniels, run.
Yeah, that's probably what we're going to see. Like Jaden Daniels could become extremely relevant for fantasy very fast because, like, he's Richardson from last year. Like, it's just about whether he can slide before he gets hit too much.
On Boys Fantasy Network. Cheers, boys. We'll have a beer with you later. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Mike Evans is going straight in anyway, but I'm not as excited for Mike Evans this year. I don't know about you two.
No, he's starting to hit that age, isn't he? He's getting up there. Like,
I think the draft cost is a bit higher this year as well. It kind of put me off a little bit.
Yeah, sure. What was he last year? He was going late. Like, it was like 7th round pick last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was 7, so it was quite a good payoff. But I think this year it was a bit more expensive, so I wasn't really in on it.
He was third round this year, wasn't he?
He was high anyway.
Second.
Yeah.
Was he third or second this year?
I think he was third. Or fourth.
Sorry, 4th round pick. He went 4th in our draft this year.
Rashad White.
It's probably too high.
Yeah.
Rams at Detroit. This one will be a feisty on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, this is a nice game.
Yeah,
like Jared Goff's he's a nice little start if you're in a bit of a push this week, isn't he? He might be on some waivers.
Yeah, probably good. You probably load up a lot of these lads, to be fair.
Like if you're streaming quarterbacks this year, this would be a good matchup to target the 2 quarterbacks. I might steer away from Stafford, but I wouldn't be shocked if he has a big week either, you know?
Yeah, like he's got more than enough weapons to go around. But he doesn't really have a tie in the right, but like Nakua and go, what more do you want? Like,
is Puka's knee all right?
Yeah, they've said he's okay, but apparently, like it's got people a little bit worried. Like he's not at 100% coming into the game.
Yeah, it might be an interesting week to play Cup anyway. Well, you're going to play Cup either way because you've drafted him so highly, but you could see an uptick for Cup this week.
I think Cup was great value this year, though. Like he was 3rd round, 4th round, some places. Like he was great value.
I have this lined up for you and for our debate about Kyren and Blake Corum there.
Yeah. This is I think personally that Corum is going to get a lot of snaps. That's why I drafted him in our league this year. I think once the thing with Kyren Williams and the kick returns came out, I was like, he had a high workload last year, took a lot of snaps. Like they want to get that snap share down, not up. And they've just increased it if they're going to keep Kyren on the same snap share and put him on kicks. So like if you keep him at that, that's even higher risk of injury. So I think if they're putting him on kicks, they're probably taking a lot of the snaps off of him that he had last year. I think Corum's going to get a good body of work off the Rams this year.
Yeah, it is a good call. It was such a weird thing to come out with and just say that he's going to start returning punts as well, and then expect him to be an RB1. Like, why would you put your RB1 in that situation? Like, you don't want him to be getting hurt again, returning punts and kicks. Like, so I think it's a good call there. Like, I think Corum, maybe not the first couple of weeks, but definitely by week 5, 6, I think he'd probably have taken that over.
We do have.
Well, I
remember that kickoffs aren't as stressful, and punt returns has actually gone to Corum. I read that today.
Oh, is it gone to Corum? Is it?
Yeah, kick returns have gone to Kyren, and then punt returns have gone to Corum.
Right, so they took him off of the punt. So basically they're splitting the 2 kicks, and the kick returns, as Dan said, they changed the kickoff rule this year, so it's not as taxing on the player. So maybe I still think even at that, it's probably going to be 65% Kyren and leftovers then for Corum. But I reckon
exactly what I have in my head as well. I think Corum is going to get like 35%. I think Kyren will get 65, and then I don't really see Ronnie Rivers taking too much of the work off either of them, if you know what I mean.
No, but I do think as the year goes on, I think Corum, like if Corum starts well and does well with the snaps he's given, we've seen what McVay does with that backfield in previous years. Like that's how Kyren moved up the depth chart so fast.
The other side of the ball, Jamie, you're the Gibbs owner, so you probably have a bit more insight into the Lions running backs, but do you have any fear playing either of them?
No, I think they're fine. I know Montgomery took a lot of ball off Gibbs last year, but I think this is Gibbs' year now to be the out and out RB1. I still think they'll split a bit with Montgomery, all right, but I'm expecting Gibbs now to really take this over and be that guy. I don't know if I'm expecting or hoping, but it's one or the other.
Yeah, because they're both listed on the depth chart as RB1s.
I know, yeah. It's 1A and 1B, they're saying, yeah.
That's
still
too
worries
good.
me. I really thought by now that Montgomery would be the 2, but I think eventually Gibbs will be fine. I think he'll be fine this year.
I think week 1 for them two will be very telling.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
100%.
if Montgomery gets 60-70% of the workload, that's the way it's going for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
If Gibbs gets it, that's the way it's going.
I can't do this again. Like I Gibbs and Cook last year. With Cook getting the ball taken off him at the fucking 1 yard line, and then fucking Montgomery taking all such sounds off Gibbs as well. Like I can't do this again. Like this. It's a
You're
hope.
all right.
Come on, it's a hope.
Latavius Murray isn't there this year in Buffalo to take him off of Cook, so you're all right.
That was a joke. I don't care what anyone says. That was a joke. Like, still angers me.
It was brilliant for me. I had no running backs after like week 4.
Last game of the week, boys. The Monday Night Football game, the Jets against San Francisco. It's actually an interesting enough game for the San Francisco 49ers to just destroy the Jets and make everything easy for everyone.
No.
I think this could
San
be a
Francisco
game.
side of the ball is easy enough. Like, we all know what we're playing here. You've drafted Debo, you've drafted Ayuk, you've drafted CMC. They're all getting thrown straight in. Even George Kittle, like, there's no even debate, really. You could look Purdy's way. Purdy or Goff?
Probably go Goff just for how good the Detroit offense was last year.
Yeah.
I think they're less of a running team, if that makes sense. Well, they just don't have McCaffrey, and they don't make Debo run the ball. So, like, there's a lot more that San Francisco do to take the ball out of Purdy's hands that the Lions don't do to take it out of Goff's hands.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think Goff's your boy there. Like, if you're putting him on Purdy's more of he's a good real world quarterback. He does exactly what the 49ers need. He's not a fancy quarterback.
The other side of the ball, then Brees is straight in. Aaron Rodgers. I don't think I'm going to play Rodgers until I see what's actually going on here. Would you both agree?
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
The only real other questions then, like Garrett Wilson, you've spent a second round pick, so you're committed. You're playing him. There's no question. Tyler Conklin at tight end might be interesting.
Yeah. Rodgers always was a good QB to get tight ends involved, wasn't he?
Yeah, I picked up Conklin in my draft. So
I saw that. That's why I purposely asked.
I picked him up in I think it was the last round or the second last round. Like as you said, Shane, like Rodgers always getting the ball to the tight ends. He always gets those boys in. And if Rodgers is half the quarterback that he was before he got injured, like he could be a really sneaky Dave round pick there. He's probably still on the waiver somewhere if you needed a tight end at this point this week. But
no, he's on the carousel.
Right, tight
he's
end.
on the carousel.
Last question. Big Money Joe. Need a flex. McLaurin, Godwin, Brian Robinson, or Palmer? So we talked about McLaurin just a few seconds ago. He's got Tampa Bay. Godwin obviously has Washington. Then Brian Robinson will be against Tampa Bay, and Palmer for the Chargers is against Vegas. So there's a lot of people in the Washington Tampa Bay game. Ugh.
Yeah, I think I'll go Godwin there out of all them known quantity. Palmer is probably highest upside, but Godwin is probably a solid option there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I'm going to lean McLaurin on that. So you're both going Godwin. I just think McLaurin, only target in town, gets it more, but I can see where you're coming with Godwin.
Yeah, I don't know what you're going like. Jaden Daniels is just. I just think he's going to be running for his life most of that game. I really do. And I don't think that the Tampa Bay defense is any great shakes. I really don't rate Washington's offensive line.
I think that brings us to a nice natural end of the show. We got through week 1. Looking forward to being completely wrong and having everything blow up in our faces and tilt massively for week 2. We'll get through it together.
No, hey, as long as my number one pick doesn't get injured for the whole year, week 1, and then my number 2 pick doesn't get injured for 8 weeks in week 3, I'll be fine. If that happens
Well.
2 years in a row, I'm not playing. Just give me back my money.
Isn't that all we want? Yeah.
All right, let's wrap up. Thanks for all the questions this week, folks. It's been a great week show. Two boys, say goodbye.
Good luck, boys. Best of luck.
Hey, lads.
See you, guys.